Once upon a time, there was a little donkey that strolled carefree through the countryside, observing the clouds, the leaves of the trees, and the birds flying above him. He was so distracted by everything above his long ears that one day he didn't notice what was hidden under his hooves and thus fell into a well. Fortunately, the well was not deep enough to hurt him, but it was narrow enough to prevent him from escaping, no matter how much he tried to climb. All he could do was tire himself out terribly in the attempt to escape. Desperate, he began to bray and cry with sadness for not being able to climb out. He was about to lose hope when he saw someone peering into the hole he was trapped in. It was a hairy and dirty boy with a beaming smile on his face. After seeing the trapped donkey, the boy ran away. The donkey felt a little relieved, thinking that this friendly boy had gone to seek help to pull him out. But in fact, the boy went to find other friends to laugh at him. The donkey made a big mistake in believing that smile was of kindness, for it was actually of malice. Everyone knew the mysterious boy. He was the most mischievous in the village and was always looking for some new wickedness to commit. At 5 years old, he was already a real rascal, and that day he had gathered his friends to help him play a nasty trick on the poor trapped donkey. "What a stupid donkey, look at him, he can't get out of the hole he fell into," said Andrew to his friends, throwing a fistful of dirt in the donkey's face. "I have an idea, let's go get the shovels from my dad and bury this stupid tuft." The friends looked at each other. Nobody was in agreement with doing such a thing, but in the end, they went to look for shovels and any tool that could be used to fill the well with earth. They returned and were about to start, but one of them, Luke, spoke with a trembling voice.
"I don't want to do it, better I go home."
And Andrew mocked him, shouting in his face, "You're a chicken," making chicken sounds and inviting the others to also make fun of him. The boy's cheeks reddened as if he had been in the sun, embarrassed he couldn't stand being called a coward, so he snatched a shovel from another companion and was the first to start throwing earth. Some boys did it only out of fear of becoming the target of rejection and ridicule from the others. They did their best to throw as little earth as possible, hoping that everyone else would repent sooner or later and leave the donkey in peace. However, there were some like Andrew, who in addition to throwing mud, stones, and dust to bury the donkey, insulted and mocked him, saying things like, "Take this, stupid donkey, it's to make you understand where you walk, tuft." Meanwhile, the donkey moved back and forth in the well, avoiding the earth getting into his eyes, but the boys continued to throw more and more earth, trying not only to humiliate him but to hurt him. The well began to fill, but the stubborn animal did not let himself be buried. Every time the level of earth rose by a centimeter, he stepped on that earth with his hooves. The boys were too caught up in the action to notice that the donkey was using that earth as small steps to slowly approach the surface. After a bit of movement in that well hole and positioning of his legs to avoid being buried under all that was thrown, the donkey was close enough to the surface to be able to get out of his prison by himself. He jumped out, leaving the boys surprised, and the surprise soon turned to fear when the enraged animal began to chase them all over the field. Andrew, the heartless boy, returned home with a big hole in his pants. This story offers us 3 important messages. The first lesson is that of the tuft. In life, sooner or later, each of us will face problems and feel trapped, and often there will be people ready to criticize us and take advantage of us when we are at our worst. These people will try to humiliate us and make us lose hope. We have 2 options. We can stay still and feel like victims, waiting for them to bury our self-esteem with their criticism, or we can learn from the story and use those criticisms as steps to get out of the situation. So think, if someone has ever treated you like this and how you could react to prove that you will never let anyone bury you again. The second lesson concerns the dirty boy. This character teaches us 2 lessons. First of all, it reminds us that harming others, especially taking advantage of their weakness, will eventually turn against us. What we inflict on others will come back to us like an enraged donkey. So think twice before taking advantage of someone. Secondly, a happy person does not act like the dirty boy. This message is more subtle and difficult to spot in the story, but the neglected boy is clearly an unhappy individual seeking revenge against the world. The next time you meet someone like that, try to feel compassion. The third lesson is provided by Luke. Many times we find ourselves in situations where friends induce or invite us to do things that we know are wrong and that we don't want to do. We do it only to try to impress them, to avoid being mocked by them. However, what they tell us to intimidate and manipulate us is false. It is not a sign of intelligence or courage to bend to do something we know is wrong. It would have been much more intelligent and courageous for Luke to tell his friend not to involve him in his nonsense. Moreover, it is important to understand that if you try to please people who push us to do wrong things, in the end, they will hurt us. These people are not real friends, and it is better not to have anything to do with them. Finally, don't worry about losing such friendships because they are not true friends. True friends are those who seek your well-being and help you become a better person. Therefore, you should not give importance to the opinions of these people. I now invite you to think if you have ever done something that you knew was wrong just to seek the approval of others, and to think about what you should have done or said at that moment. Now that you know these lessons, we invite you to continue listening to other stories like this, because every story leaves us with values that are like trophies that help us become better people. If you appreciated the message of this video, like it, share it, and remember to subscribe to the Limitless Horizons channel. Write in the comments what teachings this story has left you, and see you in the next video.